Go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to day four. Man, if I'm a little low energy today, it's simply because I literally was up all night thinking about email. I couldn't sleep. And so thinking about stuff for my business and ideas and stuff, it's an ex exciting time for me anyway. Um, and mostly because there's a lot of, I guess there's just a lot more momentum. A lot more people are interested in this than there have been in recent years. And the reasons for that are probably obvious. But some of the things that people are wanting to do more of is, well, send more. We've talked about that. Um, the other things my clients are saying to me that they want to do more of is they want to get more out of every single email in terms of it needs to bring more traffic. And second, and not necessarily in this order, they want to have more of a personal connection. Um, the we've talked about this a lot, so I won't spend too much more time on it, but I have come to the conclusion that sending is serving. And the more that you send, the more they get to know you, the better the chances that you have of them, consuming your content. Now, one of the things that we want to be watchful of that happened within the last year or so is um, it's more important than ever that we control our sending reputation. So that if if you want to stay out of the spam box, the spam folder, um, then the trick is to send stuff that people care about. So this wasn't on my list of things to talk about, but I think it's worth bringing up. The first thing that you always want to do for the health of your reputation is you want to sign up for postmaster.google.com. It's called Postmaster Tools. It's free, and it is basically what Google/Gmail thinks about your sending reputation. This acts as a valuable proxy for people like Yahoo as well. So if you're in good standing with Gmail, you're probably in good standing with everybody else. So when you get in there, and I don't have a screenshot in front of me, um, you have to go through a process where you'll verify your domain name. It's, kind of like they do that through DNS. And if you need help with that, then contact your technical resource. Your Big Scoots, if you're with them, they're great. If you're with NerdPress, they can help. Whoever it may be that you use as your technical resource can help you get verified if it's not clear to you how to do it. Once you're in there, this is something you don't need to check all the time, but you're going to just want to maybe once a month go back and take a look at. And the things you want to look at first is spam rate. Okay, you're going to see a chart. That chart is going to actually, let me see if I've got access to one and that I can safely. I hadn't planned on this, but I really do think that this is helpful. Okay, so I have access to this particular account. So it looks a little something like this. Um, so you've got your domain name over here, and then you're going to have these things to look at: spam rate, IP reputation, domain reputation. The top three are the ones that we care the most about. And we can go back in time and watch this. Um, you're basically looking for um, little spikes. They're going to happen once in a while, especially if you haven't been sending and then you start sending something. I really don't know what happened with this one. That that spike on March 30th was unusual. It is possible that maybe we accidentally sent two emails on that day or something dumb. I don't know. Stuff happens. But you can see that the rest of it is just kind of, for the most part, point 0.1, point 0.2, or 0.000. Okay. So you're going to want to look at that. Your IP reputation, you're not going to have much control over that. That is going to be based off of your host, your email service provider. So MailChimp, Kit, Flowdesk, MailerLite, ActiveCampaign, you name it. So it should be high. If it's not high, then you want to go bug them. The new thing is your domain reputation. So you want to keep an eye on this one. So You can see here that this particular domain was at medium. Medium's fine. You don't want to be low or bad. That means that if you're low or bad, they're probably dropping you into the spam folder. The way that you get from medium to high, or in all cases, is um, by keeping your list pruned of people that don't want to be on there. Is list hygiene. You've heard of it before. Um, I don't want you to freak out about this. You don't need to go overboard. Many people are just like obsessed with cleaning their lists. All right. Like it's like literally every week they'll do it. That's unnecessary for most of us. Um, unless you are like in ultra budget mode and it just drives you crazy that you're $19 more a month at one level than you are another one. If that is that important to you, then fine. But for the most part, the point of doing that is of keeping your list clean is for this right here to maintain a high sending reputation. It also helps give you a better sense of your actual open rate, your actual click rate. If you've got people that are dead and gone, have been on, have are ignoring you completely now, then they don't need to be on the list. We don't need to pay for them. Um, so I will prune my list a couple times a year, 3 times a year, maybe. And I even do that with my big clients. By the way, this is an aside. Sometimes a cold subscriber is not necessarily a cold subscriber. So the tools that you use will often designate whether even MailChimp has a star rating. Kit has something called cold subscribers. They all have something. And they're going off of whatever information they have. You just need to remember that that is not an infallible system. Okay, how do they know if somebody's opening? Well, the way that they know is if they are getting information back from the email platform that they're, or the email address that they're sending it to. Not all email providers like Apple Mail, for example, or Apple mail readers will give the information back in the same way. So they don't always, it's not a perfect system. I could go into much deeper on that, but just know that you may have people that actually are opening, or they're looking at it from a preview perspective, and they're not necessarily showing up there. However, it's the best information that we do have. So, however you decide to do your list pruning is up to you. Typically, I will find cold subscribers periodically, and then I'll send this is very common, send a win back campaign to them saying, hey, if you want to stay on the list, click here. Otherwise, I'm going to delete you next week. That kind of thing. There is I haven't touched it in a long time, so it might be a little outdated, but the email and autopilot script, or the script that's in the course email and autopilot, you could use as a starting point if you want to have a process for that. Okay, so that's deliverability um, and Postmaster tools. Just a little thing that you might want to put on your to-do list.
Question, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Jessica. Um, I have a main email, like a Gmail email with a domain, and I have an alias for some other blogs. Would that be all wrapped up into one account here on Postmaster Tools? It probably would, right?
This is only about the domain reputation. So your Gmail account, like if it's jessica@gmail.com, has zero bearing on this.
So if I have like hello blog one and hello blog two, and they're both sending out of the same Gmail workspace.
Oh, yeah, but the workspace is just attached to the domain name, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Because there's a difference between using personal Gmail addresses, which some people do. Don't do that.
no,
Don't send from that. We haven't covered that, but it's just I want to be clear
yeah.
on that. But yeah, this should be under if I have Matt@Culinary Spark and hello@culinaryspark.com, they're both going to be covered by this. Yes. Did that
Okay,
answer
but
that?
each domain needs to be registered separately in here.
Yes, yes. Each domain
Okay,
you want to have because each one will be viewed differently by the ISPs that are because they don't know any of the details behind the scenes.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Um, let's talk about a couple of things that are super duper important um, related to making money with email. Um, by the way, I hope you were able to kind of get out there and get some forms launched, quick start guides done, so maybe a pop-up or two. By the way, the offer, if anybody has a pop-up they want me to look at, I'm happy to do that at any time. Just drop it in here. I'll look at it at the end, and I've seen about 500,000 of these, and so I have some opinions on them about why yours may or may not be working as well as you want. So feel free to drop that here if in the chat, and I'll get to it as we can. We talked about last time. We talked about our schedules. What are we going to send? So I hope you were able to go back. If you're hearing this for the first time, we provided a calendar that you can go fill out for your seasonal broadcasts. If you haven't done so, highly encourage you to go give that a whirl. You're going to want to be consistent. We've been talking about sending more. We talked about the Forever series, and I hope that you came up with a few ideas to modify that process for you, make it a better experience for your new subscribers. All right, so let's talk about the role of segmentation. You have most of us have our content that is built around a certain theme, a certain topic, but quite often within that, our folks have different needs and interests. So by the first, I'm going through kind of early basic principles here of email, all right? We're growing the list the best we can, and we're sending them stuff that matters. We have to do that before we can ever get them to buy anything from us, which is AKA make money with email, right? And buying from us could mean clicking and coming back and Raptive paying us because they came and looked at our ads. So if we remember this principle, I'm just going to hammer it one more time, that your existing traffic is your best source of list growth. It's worth repeating and thinking about anew. The way that you get people into your list is your best opportunity for segmentation. It's hard to do it after the fact. People don't fill out surveys. They just don't. You'll get a very small percentage of people. You can ask, so what's your biggest struggle with whatever? You can ask that question, but very few people will tell you. There are some tricks that we can do, but the easiest thing to do is find out up front. And so identifying your best traffic opportunities, and then what can you offer your visitor? We've talked about seasonality. Seasonal quick start guides is a great way to go from holidays. These are obvious ones, but also category level is a great place to go to. We've got some examples of a soup category quick start guide. When I was working with Alyssa at the Recipe Critic, when we turned this one on, this one had a conversion rate of 7 times greater than her general quick start guide that she had site-wide. For some reason, when somebody's going to a soup category, the 5 days of savory soups just resonated more with the soup person. It's pretty clear what Sarah is doing here with the air frying, right? You could show these on different categories or even posts. Here's an example of one there. You can put it on a post. So that packing list of your dreams, where you can get it and just download the free checklist. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that. Okay, but if you haven't done so yet, I encourage you to go think about the next 4 or 5 quick start guides you're going to do, and what type of segmentation does it make sense for you to do. Why do that though? Because better segmentation means better opens and clicks. I can have a general Disney interest newsletter and hope and pray that when I talk about Disneyland and Disney World and D23 and what's showing on Disney Plus and where the Disney cruise is going this year, that some of that's going to hit one of you. Or I can figure out who the Disney cruisers are that are going on a Disney cruise within the next 2 years and send them a bunch of emails that I know they're going to click. And when I do that, do you see how much easier it is to narrow down the stuff you're going to sell as well? And I believe this is true for all of us on this call today, even, yes, even those that are generally in food, doing general food content. Now, if you are niched in food, then even better. It's even easier, isn't it? My folks that are catering to gluten-free, you're loving it because those people have very specific needs and they need your recipes done a certain way. I mentioned this, but I'm working with a client that has one of the biggest sourdough recipes on the planet. And together, we've identified 3 important segments to go after. And there are some that are, there's kind of, to put it simply, it's basically a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And we figured out what those look like and what they're probably willing to purchase because this creator has a lot of products and services, including cookbooks and training courses and teachings for the advanced sourdough person that wants to know the chemistry and all the things. That's not very many people. But the creator can serve that audience. And therefore, putting together a course and even a community that's aimed at the higher level sourdough folks, they go, that's for me, because they've been getting content from the blogger for some time. Now, when you start talking about advanced concepts of sourdough, those emails can be super engaging and interesting to a very small portion of people. The chemistry is lost on me, okay? In their situation, understanding the difference between that person and somebody who just Googled a basic sourdough recipe, or they had a sourdough starter, they needed to know what to do with it. Over time, and dangling the right carrots in front of those folks, he's able to do better segmentation. And that kind of goes to Elizabeth's question. The easiest way to do this is to create an opt-in that addresses a particular segment. The Disney cruise example, as I've used before, is about as clear as I can get. What to expect on your first Disney cruise? Who needs that? Only somebody who is thinking about dropping some money on a Disney cruise. They're the only people who need that. Everybody else who ruled it out is never getting on a ship. And they don't want to be on a shopping mall on the sea. They're not doing it. We have, so in your case, let's say, just hypothetically speaking, you have the people that need to make some cupcakes for their kid's birthday, or perhaps they're a little bit more into the decorating side. There've got to be ways and posts and certain recipes that lead to the show-stopping, impressive, fondant, digging segment. I don't know exactly what that is. You'll know that better. And then you have to decide, does it make sense to nurture that audience? Well, first of all, the simplest way to make money, friends, is to get more clicks back to your blog and have Raptive pay you for it. So the example that I've used in the past, Disney Cruise, Aulani in Hawaii, Disney World, Disneyland. You see where I'm going with this? If I have content related to those people and I know they are going there and I get them onto my list, look, I have a quick start guide for Aulani. It's basically 5 emails. And then I have not very much more Alani content, but a few more. And that goes into my forever series of like 3 emails. If 3 emails is forever, then this was a perfect example. But what I know about that is that I've got a better shot to serve those people with those 3 emails and deliver them what I know they want. I know they want it and they need it because they've told me by signing up for the Alani Quick Start Guide. Somebody signs up for the Air Fryer Quick Start Guide. What can you do with that? You can create a forever series or a separate set of emails that are purely air fryer recipes. Why would you do that? Because you're going to get better opens and clicks. It's just that simple. Secondarily, you're nurturing them so that when you do have the air fryer super duper cookbook, you do have the air fryer affiliate offers. And when air fryer brands themselves come to you want to sponsor, you can say, I've got X thousands of air fryer people on my list. Bingo. Now you're making money. It's much easier when you've identified those segments. I realize that this is next steps. Many of us are just turning the pop-up on again. But the reason that we're doing this is this. Remember this cookie cutter system I've been sharing with you? Now take that cookie cutter system and go and apply it to the home decor people and the cleaning people and the organization people that are on your blog. The air fryer people, the slow cooker people, uh, the uni pizza oven people, the keto folks, the vegans, the vegetarian. You see where I'm going here? When you do that, you'll increase conversion rate, you'll increase engagements, and then you'll be able to sell more down the road. There is not a silver turn it on, instantly make money bullet here. That's not how businesses are built anyway. And if that's what you were hoping for, then I'm sorry, but we have to crawl before we can walk and walk before we can run. Let's say, okay, I don't understand how to find these people. They're coming to your website right now. If I go into Google Analytics, I could probably see the top, I can see all my recipes, or all my posts and all the page views. The first thing that I would do with you as a client is I'd go see, is there any obvious trends for me? There are certain things I always look for, like slow cooker or crock pot. I'll look for that keyword. It's amazing how many of my clients have 15 to 20% of their traffic is to their slow cooker or crock pot recipe. 15 to 20% is not nothing. So what we would do specifically in that case is create a slow cooker quick start guide. Put the pop-up on the WordPress category related to slow cooker and only that one. Does that make sense? Now they're coming in and you can, in whatever system, I don't know how it works in Flowdesk, but in Kit, you could tag those people as slow cooker. Now, what you do with that tag, it could simply be a label that is an identifier for you going forward. Or you can actually use that to trigger other activities. For example, in my Disney Cruise example, the way that it worked is I had a Disney Cruise Quick Start Guide. And then the rule was they are added to the Disney Cruise Forever series and to the general Disney Interest Forever series. They were in 2 Forever series. You with me? Now, you got to think that journey through. What does that journey look like? They were also could have been added to the Alani Forever series at the same time, which was only 3 weeks long. The Disney Cruise Forever series was 33 weeks long, and the general Disney Interest, I had over almost 2 years worth of content in that. Are you saying make as many quick start guides and corresponding forever series as fits the blog? And how many is too many? How does this all look in the back end of Kit? Okay, let's stop for a second. This is going back to what you told me yesterday, Jessica. The overthinking thing. let's look at this differently. Let's go through the example. Will you unmute? I know you have multiple blogs, but let's just pick one.
Sure.
What's your biggest or the one that you want to focus on? It doesn't have to be the biggest, but the one that you think has the biggest money-making potential um, to either sell products or services or have sponsors or anything.
Could I actually do the weakest one because it's the most difficult for me to work on?
Okay, that's not where I would spend the time. I would start with the other because
I
that'll
know, but all the other ones are doing well, so I want this one to do well too.
okay. Let's go for it. What is the website and what are the topics and all that?
It's
Okay.
easyhomemade.com. So
Okay.
it's food and lifestyle, but we have a lot of lifestyle content, like cooking, cleaning, right? The idea is to make everyday homekeeping like enjoyable again, right? So how to take care of your house, how to entertain, how to cook. It
Sure.
was way too big and people come for food. So we're sort of pivoting over to just exclusively focus on food.
Sure.
Um, but you know, okay, so we can make a cleaning series, we can make food series, and we can do all the classic food stuff. We can do dinners, we can do breakfast, we can do slow cooker, all that stuff. Um, I get confused. So it's helpful. I've heard it multiple times here, like no problem to send the same content over and over. So I think that helps a lot because I would just get confused on trying to track everything of like, okay, we sent these people on this time, and then we're gonna like wait a certain time before we send it
Yeah.
again, or if they're like getting exposed, if they're on three different Forever series all at the same time. Like when are we sending? And we have
Right.
broadcasts every week, like three broadcasts a week, and
That can be
I
confusing. That is true. Let's look at it from a perspective of the cleaning folks, since that is not your core focus going forward, but you definitely still have traffic for people who are coming in for cleaning content. So we could, I'm not saying we should. These are the things, just thinking about how the email stuff could work. You could create a lead magnet that captures the cleaning folks. You could then take all of your great cleaning content, put it into a Forever series in the best order that you can possibly think of, and know that that's going to have a better shot of being, or I don't know if we know this, but assuming that we believe that that's going to have a better shot of converting and serving them, all we're doing is just being a little bit using automation in that situation to create a Forever series to serve them content that we know is more likely to be what they want. Yes, they probably eat. But some people need to clean their house and are neat freaks. They eat out all the time. So maybe they don't want the recipe content. So what we would do, let's say that you have 10 weeks. Do you think you have 10 great articles for the cleaning people that are evergreen?
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure.
Give me a
Yeah,
number.
yeah.
How many do you think you have? 10, 20, 50?
Like up to 50.
Okay, well, we have a year's worth of content. You could conceivably, if you focused on one topic per email per week, you could conceivably serve them for a year. You could write 50 emails, super short, sweet, to the point, drop them into that system, and then you could forget about it. You'd already be making more money because you're going to get better opens and clicks back to that content. Okay, that's super simple step ones and two. All right. Now, from there, you have, like you said, and I don't want to overcomplicate things, you have other decisions that could be made. Do I want them to start getting the general recipes? Maybe I do. Or do I want to give them the option to do that?
The
Maybe I do.
option for sure, right? Because if you just put them on there, but they don't want it,
Then
is
they could
that
unsubscribe from the whole thing, which would defeat the purpose. Yeah. So
right?
so yeah. So what you could do is certainly invite them to join your recipe content. And now they've got these people over here in the Cleaning Forever series, and you got people in your Recipe Forever series. Now you have doubled your opportunities for the week for that one subscriber. If we think just about that one subscriber, for that person to get to pay you more, to open more and pay you more. Yes, it will get confusing as you add more in. But my suggestion is just start with your biggest opportunities. because you don't need to go, most people at this point, okay, so they have some great, maybe they've got some great butterscotch recipes. You don't need to create the butterscotch theme for the sake of because you have a lot of butterscotch recipes. But if it's a big deal bucket like that, then that is where I would start in the same way that I did it with Disneyland, Disney World, Aulani. And pretty soon you have this machine that's just running. What's great about that too is that as that goes on and you accumulate more and more ideas will start to come to you that we're not even tapping into yet. And you'll figure out how to make more from each segment. So the whole breaking the brain thing, I totally understand. But I guess I might just say start small, take the first step, and then layer on later on as you go. And contact me if you're stuck. Like, okay, what do I do in this situation? Or talk to some other folks that are doing it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And the back end gets complicated for me too. I get the front end, and there's so much potential, right? If you're getting these people to go back and you have all the different quick start guides, and then they like you, if they opt in, they want the content. So it's not a problem to send them a gazillion emails. But
Right.
then is that all? Do you have a favorite way to do this in the back end? Because or are these all done on individual um,
Yeah, you're
visual?
gonna have to workflow it. Yeah, the rules and the automations, and I don't want to get too platform specific because I know we have people on other platforms, but you're going to want to create visual automations that say if this, then that happens inside of Kit. And honestly, they're pretty good. They have a solutions group that I can connect you to. Like if you get to a point like I'm really struggling with how to achieve this or that, they'll, I'm pretty tight with the people over there, so hit me up and I'll put you in contact with somebody that can help you figure it out for your business. They're
Okay.
they're they're incentivized to do that. They want you to
Okay.
they
That would
want you
be
to build it.
so helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be huge.
But
Thank
what
you.
I suggest though is first lay it out on paper. What do you want to have happen? Don't go to them and say, what should I do? Because you'll not get a good result. All right. I hope you get the general idea here about that. What I'm the main point, and I want to dive now into the money making part though, is this right here. It's really hard to sell anything until you've built up trust. All right. And so that's why for most of y'all, just start with this little cookie cutter system that I'm giving you, which is create lead magnets, get people in that really care about you and serve them in the way that the Aulani thing serves those people, and the Disney coloring pages serve those people, and the Disney Cruise serves the other people. Your content is like that too, as much as you can. And that's why things like a Forever series can make sense when you can't come up with seasonal content for every single segment, but you certainly can come up with evergreen paths when you think about your content. All right. Um, this is a little, I guess, a back end trick for all those that are on Kit. When you're and others are kind of like this too. When you're actually creating tags inside of your email platform like Kit, do it something like this. This is very in the weeds, tactical type of thing because interest cricket, interest quilting, because otherwise it'll alphabetize it and the C will be up top and the Q will be down below, and then you won't actually see those interest segments that way. So that's just a little tip. If you're on Kit, you kind of know what I'm talking about if you've ever tried to tag anything. Um, um, all the rest of this I kind of talked about. Okay. Now, let's talk about making money. This is a presentation that I shared at Tastemaker, not this year, but the year before. And it's very focused on food, but I think that even my non-food creators here will understand where we're going. First couple of things is, I asked, what would I do if I knew I had 6 months before major changes to my traffic? This was March of 2024. What would I do if I knew I had 6 months now before there was major changes to my traffic? Well, shocker, for me, it would be to grow my list as big as possible. Because all the things we've been talking about, you can drive traffic where you want them to go. You can get into a new channel fast by saying, hey, everybody, we're going over here. Let's do this. And then the things we're going to talk about today, unlocking new revenue streams. And then I just have to be a jerk for a second and pound this one more time. This is an epidemic. This is a challenge that many of us have struggled with. Our success is due to ranking or an algorithm. I know you busted your butt to get there, to create the content. I'm not diminishing that effort at all. The only point that I'm trying to make here is that, do you really have a brand? Do you really stand for something? Do you stand out? I know that you do, and I know that you are more than a search result. You are more than an algorithm result. And your engaged readers are coming back. You have those people. When you build an email list, you have the opportunity to better convey what makes you different and special. Before we leave this topic and go into making money, I am talking about Marketing 101. What problem do you solve for people? If you can't answer that, you have no way of making money. I'm sorry, you will not win. So, if you want to be more than an algorithm search result, we need to figure out what problem it is that we solve. Now, you have access to my email and autopilot Facebook group. I recommend this to everybody. I don't know if anybody that's on this call listened to my interview with Greg Head. He's a mentor of mine for many, many years. He is not in blogging space at all. He is a brand and positioning expert. And he talks about the challenge that we all have of standing out in somebody's mind. In order to sell something, people have to see you as having the answers to their problems. That happens more easily when you have a brand. Now, the way he talks about it is kind of separates brand and positioning. And positioning is the real estate that you occupy in somebody's mind. Many of us never met before this seminar or this webinar. All right. Some of us had met, or maybe you've attended one of my previous things. My guess, however, is, where does Matt Mullen sit? What piece of real estate do I occupy in your brain? I kind of hope that, oh, he's the email guy for bloggers, or even more specifically recently, the email guy for food bloggers, because I've done so much of that. Am I far off? Well, hopefully that's kind of no. So, but before that, before this, we didn't know each other. You knew nothing about me. It took somebody else to introduce us, so you had to hear who I was. And it's so much easier for somebody to say, oh, so who's Matt Mullen? Oh, he's the email guy for bloggers. You can explain that to somebody else, can't you? Can people do that for your brand in a succinct statement like that? Please go listen to that interview and tell me what you learned. Greg changed my life. He changed my marketing life, and thus my life forever, when it was at a different company, and he solved that for me. He opened my eyes to the issue that we were having in that company, and it has now changed everything I do and the way I think. And it can for you too. And it sounds maybe it sounds frou-frou to some of you, but it is fundamental for your success. All right, assuming that we have those, let's get into it finally. Come on, Mullen. Adina's over there like, can I please make some money, please? We'll get started. All right, we're going to start with the easy ways to make money with email. Let's see, is this it? Yep, that's the one. That's the one. So for those that are on the call with me live, Jessica shared it in the chat, and I'll try to remember to share it in the notes as well. Okay. We need to remember, go back to your beginnings. Did you make money with blogging right away? When you published your first, well, I see everybody here. You published your first recipe online? Maybe it was after your review of the Hunger Games books back in whenever it was, and you were using Blogspot. I don't know. Maybe that's when you started. Um, but when you first published, did you make money right away? What was your intention? How much do you know now compared to what you knew then? So we're going to start with that understanding that we've got to get the fundamentals down and learn this as a skill, and it is a learnable skill. Easy way, number one, to make money with email is to pay very close attention to what Raptive and Mediavine are doing. Yes, I'm including Mediavine in this. The first thing that you should know about, and I hope that you all do, but it still may be a confusing concept to some, is about first-party data. The value of an email address goes far beyond just, hey, I can email people. Today with Raptive and Mediavine, when they know an email address, the way that it works is advertisers can use email addresses to understand more about your demographics. For example, think about what your email might indicate about you. I get emails from the Ford dealership. I get emails about the Marriott reservation that I'm making. I get emails about Gilbert, Arizona. I get emails about my fantasy sports team. Okay. All these things, you start to paint this picture who Matt Mullen is just by an email address. Just in the same way that cookies follow us around the internet, our email address does something similar. And so when we get somebody to click on one of our links, it can set basically an ID that then Raptive can then take and they hash it. That means that they obscure it. So it's not Karen at KarenIsAwesome.com. They don't know that. It's gobbling a bunch of strings. It's a bunch of characters that nobody could tell what that is. But it tells us who Karen is as a person based off of what we know about her email. Then they put that in this clean room to keep things private. But advertisers then share that information. And as such, they're able to say, you know what? Karen sure loves soups. We're going to show her a bunch of Campbell's ads. So these are the types of things the ways that we make more money. This is a year ago, over a year ago, but at the time, and it has not stopped, the whole adage of follow the money will show you how important this is to the ad networks. Mediavine continues to dump a ton of money into building their Grow system. Grow is kind of like their Google login. I'm sure you've seen it. And the reason for that is they want the first-party data. They want your email address for the reasons that we're talking about here. Raptive is all in on this newsletter ID thing. Okay? Does everybody know about the newsletter ID thing? Are you adding the newsletter ID to the end of your links to be clicked on? All right, I need to bring this up. We can't gloss over this. I could tell by the glossy looks in your eyes, a couple of you. So let me pull this up. I'm going to drop this article into the chat. For those of you who are watching the replay, just look up newsletter link ID in the Raptive search. Okay, you need to understand this one, folks. You actually make real money with this. Here's what happens. Your email service provider, you then add a snippet of code to the end of each link in your newsletter. Then what happens is somebody clicks on that, it puts them into the Raptive identification system, and they are able to, it's called a first-party cookie. They're then able to identify them coming back for all the reasons we just talked about. And you have to set this up differently with each platform. So depending on your platform, you're going to attach something like this to the end of each link. Kit is the only one that has it automatically embedded. And if I may brag for just a moment, the reason that I have it automatically embedded is because I was sick of doing this individually, and I happened to know the CEO, and I said, you have to do this. And it's the one time he's ever listened to me. And he got together with the Raptive team, and they integrated it. So here you go. If you are using Kit, make sure that you go to the advanced tracking in the settings, and you turn those two on. All right, and then it'll be done for you. You don't have to do what the Flowdeskers have to do, which is add it to the end of every single link, or Drip, or Elastic Email, or any of them. Okay, but if you're on one of those platforms, like here's Flowdesk right here, you're going to add this to the end of every link. Are you with me? Does everybody understand this? Why would you do this? Because those clicks are worth 40% more than a non-ID'd click. I had that conversation about 90 days ago with James Baldwin, the senior engineer. He's a VP at Raptive, and he's the one that works on this. And he says that right now it's about a 40% increase. Now, this is not just good for you when you do it. It's also good for Jessica, because they're in Raptive. When Elizabeth's email address shows up on Jessica's website, that cookie, Jessica makes 40% more. We are all using the network effect of helping each other. Okay? The more that the networks know in the same way that it knows cookies, the better ads it can serve, and the better we can make money. Does this make sense? I got to move on, but I hope you all understand this. If you get nothing else out of this entire 5-day session, you got to do this. This is just money sitting there. Even if that means it's a pain in the neck to go add all the links to that code at the end of every link, you just got to do it. Otherwise, or switch to Kit. I'll help you migrate for free. It's worth it. At 40% increase in clicks or conversions, totally worth it. All right, hope that helps. All right, that's easy way number one. Easy way number two. I did this spoiler alert yesterday, but it is to send more emails. At RPMs where it is 40% higher, you can already see where we're going with this, right? Send more emails, make more. On top of that, it's a traffic driver. I have many clients where I have taken them from where email was 2% of their page views to where it is now 10% of their page views. It can be a significant portion of your traffic, and it is a more profitable portion of your traffic. And we haven't even scratched the surface on selling products and affiliate and all that other stuff. We're just talking about Raptive paying you. So send more emails. If you are at 1 a week right now, go to 2. If you're at 2, try 3. I've hit that point enough. I think you get it. Easy way number 3. Send more emails about moneymakers. Okay, include the links that make you the most money. Here's just an illustration of that. You've all seen these in your own dashboards. You have certain posts that are worth more than others. I don't quite understand all of it, but I imagine it's how long it takes to make the recipe or to consume the post. In my case, I've found that Disney hotels and Disney cruise content is worth a heck of a lot more than a Disney coloring page. But you can see in this case, it's obscured here, but this was actually a Coloring Pages post. Okay, so this had 32,000 page views, made $618. For a fraction of those, I don't know what this post was, but it made very close to the same amount for a fourth or third of the page views. So all else being equal, send your emails, include your money-making links, your higher RPM posts in your emails more often. Okay? If you have Adina has the Romanian maple syrup jalapeno cheesecake, which I'm sure is delicious. And that has $50 RPM. And then she's got the Romanian, I'm really struggling now, microwave burritos. And that is only $25 RPM. Send the cheesecake. Find more excuses to send the cheesecake. Now, don't force it. Like literally, if tuna casserole is making you a ton of money, we don't need to see tuna casserole in baking, series. It's just not going to work. That's forcing it. You know what I mean? I think you get the general gist here. Also, remember my concept about email math? People don't remember what you had in these roundups from week to week to week, let alone month to month. So if the Romanian cheesecake doesn't show up once a month in a roundup, you might be doing it wrong. Let's get it in there. It doesn't always have to be the first position. It could be the third. It could be the seventh. It could be the 10th, whatever. Let's just make sure that it's in there. As far as sending days and times for sending emails, you'll see a lot of Tuesdays are the best days to send. That's garbage. The reason that's garbage is because it has nothing to do with you. Your audience is different from everybody else's audience that is on here. What I found is what I believe is I want to send emails when people are more naturally engaged with my content. For the Disney Dreamers, it was Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. I could see it in my Google Analytics. That's when the spikes would happen. For food bloggers, it's typically Sunday, Saturday, Monday are kind of the three busiest days. You can send an email on Friday, but good luck to you. That's pizza night. All right. There's nothing you can do about it. People are tired. So Friday is the last day that I send food emails. I want to send on Sundays for sure. Now, does that help, Joanna? So think about when your audience might be engaged. And it could be different. Remember, our segmentation could be different depending on the segment. All right, easy way number 4 to make more money is to be more profitable. It also helps, I think, to open your eyes. This is an exercise that very few people do. If you will go to, I've got it right here, emailcrush.com/calc. It's going to take you to that form. I'll drop it in here. And then just go get it. This is going to bring up a calculator. It looks like this. You just change the yellow sections in the spreadsheet. So how many emails, active subscribers do you have? How many times a month are you sending? What's your average page views? What's your average RPM? Just take a guess. Just do a guess. And then what's your MailChimp cost you? Drop it in here. And then what's your click-through rate? And then it's going to give you some numbers here. And it doesn't factor in any other revenue sources like sales or affiliates and other. So it's just going to give you that number. A lot of times people have no idea, literally no idea about how much money you might be making. The Raptive dashboard, by the way, has started to include that as well. A word of caution on that, not caution, but a note, is that there's a lag. So James was explaining to me that they don't actually know that much about the email RPMs until like the second or third visit from somebody. So if you're just getting going with your list, like if you're just really ramping it up right now and the RPMs seem a little low for email, give it a little bit of time. Give it 90 days for it to kind of settle in with your new patterns, for people to click on with whatever new format you're using. And then you'll probably have a more accurate view of that. Okay. Any questions on that so far? All right. I'm going to, I think I'm going to stop actually, because tomorrow we're going to dive into more ways to make money that are the harder way. And I will tell you that some of the big ones we're going to talk about will be selling your own product or service. We will talk about sponsorships in newsletters. That's actually a thing now. And there are more platforms than ever before. Some of them are okayish and some of them are terrible. There isn't somebody that's amazing yet, but there are ways. And then I'm going to tell you how to do it yourself, where that's where you'll make the most money. Um, we'll talk about affiliate. And then I'm going to talk about sales funnels, about the kind of the general process for using email to promote or sell something. So any of you who have a product or service already or are thinking about it at all, you're going to want to attend that portion, if nothing else. Okay? So tomorrow is really the fire hose, where I'm just going to, just going to be idea after idea after idea. There'll be more than we can get into all the details on. All right, hope that's helpful to you today. We have we're going to wrap up here. I'm going to stick around as long as you want. If you have questions, let me know. If you have a pop-up you want me to look at, happy to do it. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow, where maybe we'll actually learn how to make some money with email. I keep promising it. Maybe tomorrow we'll do it. I don't know. All right. If you got to get out of here, then we'll see you tomorrow. If you have any questions, unmute. Let's do it. Go ahead, hit me. All right, everybody's good? If anybody's stuck, today's really the last chance to get unstuck. No, it's not. There's always a chance. I'm just being real.
I can ask you a question if nobody else has anything.
That makes me feel valued and needed. So thank you,
Are you
Jessica.
appreciated now?
Yes, I am. I was going to walk away here a little dejected.
Okay, so regarding, I think Tuesday, when you went over the quick start guides, with me specifically, and then kind of in general, you said to cut the word count down. So I did that. In my opinion, they're painfully abbreviated.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that that is like correct, right? That's really what you're going for. So I did I have recipe collections. So there's like 3 to 5 recipes per email. And then they have, the blurb is now no longer a description, but it is either a quick, a short quote from the blog, somebody's authentic comment, or it's a note. It says this recipe has been shared across the internet over X amount of times, or there's some sort of like marketing thing. Your example was I discovered the secret ingredient, ... You won't believe it. Or there is a fourth option that has this recipe has blank stars from blank votes. What's your vote? Question mark. And then I kind of just alternate those throughout the whole series.
So
I like it.
I do. I haven't seen the finished product. This is where you can't. I'm using cookie cutter advice, and you have to apply it to you. If you're uncomfortable with it, Jessica, you've got to inject your voice into it. Like, I don't want you
I'm not uncomfortable. Right? I just want to be told what to do. I just want to know what works. Like, I'm cool.
Okay. Fine. I'm just telling you that historically, what I've found, especially with people who are just new to your list that don't know you, that the most important opportunity for us is to get them to the next click.
Yeah.
Because you've done all that work on the website or on the video or wherever you're sending them, and you've really poured your heart into that. If you think of the email as not the product, but as just the bus to get them to the product, we just got to get you there. I promise you, if I get you there, you'll love it. Neil, I don't know if you remember that or know who Neil Patel is. I signed up for Neil's emails years ago, and he used to send out these emails that were like 2 sentences long. And it was like, hey, what if you knew exactly what your competitor was ranking for and how they got that ranking? Click here and I'll show you how you can figure it out. And it got me every single time, every time. Now, why does that work? Because, by the way, these were plain text emails. There was no logo in it. They were all just white with Arial font. And it was because it's exactly what I needed. It had nothing to do with his brand. The point of it was not to convince me that it has a beautiful brand or a magazine or any of that stuff. It was truly just to say, hey, I got an answer to your problem. You want it? And then I'll get to the website, and that's where all his stuff is orangey and beautiful and, whatever. So Yeah. I had
So for
I had
quick guides,
unsubscribed because it was working too well. And I would always get to the website and I'm like, okay, that actually doesn't apply to me. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
no, it's good. So keeping that for quick start guides has the green light, and then potentially for all emails. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be wrong to test that at least and see if it works.
What are you optimizing for?
Uh, the only way I make money on email is conversions through, at the moment, through blog traffic. So
So
click-throughs.
clicks. So you're
Yeah.
optimizing for clicks. So
Yeah.
you don't have to listen to me a lick more. All you have to do is play golf, which is keep bettering your score. You just
Mhm.
keep trying different stuff to get better clicks.
Okay.
If that's what we're optimizing for, that's the game you're playing. Yeah, it's such an important question. I'm so glad that you brought it up again because I think we all struggle with that a little bit. I
Thank
think
you.
it was this group I told the
Oh,
example to, right? I had I just got done doing an audit of this gal who had the most literally the most beautiful, I'm not joking, the most beautiful kit template I've ever seen. And I expected it to be off the charts better. It was actually worse than my normal template. So I'm sure there's other benefits to having the beautiful template. But if we're optimizing for clicks, she wasn't winning there. And
amazing.
she had spent a lot of time and money um, to get that beautifulness for her relatively very small list that was relatively not clicking stuff.
Do you have any prompt? Like, remember the formula that you used for the subject line?
Yeah.
Um, I forget what it was, but it was, I have it in my notes. It's this plus this equals amazing subject line. Do you have anything else like that that you might be able to share um, to help make these blurbs, right? So that's for the subject line. Now, what about the intro or like the content blurb or like, I don't know, what are
Yeah.
these? What, marketing, like, I don't know, hacks.
I like that. Let's see if I can come up with one on the spot. I don't have one that I have formulaically used. I think maybe that's just some ingredients that you could kind of look for rather than a formula, but maybe some, the recipe is there an element of social proof? Like if you have a stat, if you have a quote, that's proof that what you're saying. Um, when you just make and this isn't a formula. I guess this is just kind of when you're writing the copy and you make a general statement, which we all tend to do, that is 100% indefensible. No, you can't prove that what you're saying is true until they go try it. And there's no reason for them to believe you because it's marketing fluff. You say, these are the cookies that'll have your family coming back asking for more. If you said, literally, my family asked me to make these last night, you see how that's different? So don't make unsubstantiated claims if you have social proof. The thing is that social proof can be easy to manufacture. Not manufacture, but I mean, it's easy to find. You have it. You have so much traffic relative to unwrapped blogs, not wrap. Anyway, unwrapped unwrapped blogs don't have as much traffic as you do. So you got traffic on those posts, on those recipes. You have people trying them. You have comments back on any one of those. You have the stats from Pinterest or back in the day when Facebook groups were a thing. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that's kind of you know it when you see it. And I tend to just ask myself, if I got rid of this sentence, would it change how I feel about this email at all? Usually the answer is no. And so I don't need that sentence. It's just getting in the way of of me getting to the clicks. You're still here. Let me show you. If you want, I'll just show you a couple other things that are random. I know you gotta get out of here, but these are extras. All right. Why your quick start guide might not be converting. First of all, is anybody finding it? If you tell me you put it at the bottom of your footer or your sidebar and you're like, nobody's signing up, well, I'm going to tell you nobody is seeing it, so nobody is signing up. So until you do site-wide pop-ups, don't talk to me. Second, messaging. Perhaps your messaging is cluttered, unclear. The design can get in the way. Sometimes you may write something clever, but you use a cursive font that nobody can read. And ultimately, maybe it doesn't solve a problem. I had a real life example of this. I apologize if I already shared it. One of my clients ranked very high for pies. Like her whole website was just pie, 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 pie. It was just ranked for it. And so I was like, oh, this is easy. We'll make 5 secrets to baking the perfect pie. And then this will be the obvious thing that everybody signs up for. We put it out there and nobody signed up for it. Crickets, like nothing. I'm like, why? This doesn't make any sense. So let's think about it for a second. Going back to our motivation, why does somebody Google pie? How often does the average person bake a pie during the course of a year? Once? Twice? It's not something that you go bake all the time. Pie is intimidating or it's special. So when we switched to something that was more related to just baking in general, took off. I wasn't solving the right problem. If you need a subject line or quick start guide idea, this is before ChatGPT days, but it still works today. This is kind of fun. Go to images.google.com and type in, I don't know, vegan food magazine. And it's going to bring up all these covers. Okay, you can open up one of these, and then you kind of have to put on your reading glasses here a little bit, but it might give you some ideas. The Italian issue, that's interesting. Italian is so big of a thing that it's worthy of its own headline. Okay. Focus on protein. Are we getting enough? That's an interesting one. What if you had recipes or breakfasts that are protein packed, vegan breakfasts that are protein packed? Because I could start all of a sudden I'm riffing on a new theme, right? How to embrace being the only vegan in your company. Perfect pasta. Back to basics. Easy one pots. Vegan eats in Paris? No, not so much. Right? You get the idea. You can do this for any topic. There is a magazine for it, and the history of it is there. These were people that were paid to write headlines. And so they did a pretty good job. Here's another one. Go to mild.com. This is more for e-commerce, but you can get other inspiration. Mild.com is another newsletter search engine. So you drop in here, say, I don't know, Martha Stewart. If you have, I don't know, say cleaning an organization, maybe Martha Stewart has something to do with you. You could pull this up here. And then you start going through, same deal. Like, all right, what types of stuff okay, here's Martha. Look at hers. All right, what types of things is she putting in here? I don't know. Taco bar toppings? Interesting. What is MSG? How to cook, how to use it? Ditch your dirty sponge. I don't know. It just started giving you ideas, right? How to care for how to fold a napkin in 13 ways. I really only need 11 ways, so that's a little excessive for me, but I'm cool. Here we've got one more. BuzzFeed is another place where you can get some great ideas. Again, these are all before ChatGPT. ChatGPT can replace a lot of this, but it's still, if you're stuck. This is one I think everybody should be doing, is go sign up for other email lists and get inspired. I'm not saying to steal, I'm not saying to plagiarize, but just go get inspired. What you can do is create an alias that will filter it for you so you never see them. So I can have, if you have a Gmail account, like many of us do, you can have mmullen plus anything at gmail.com is the same as mmullen at gmail.com. It goes to the same email address. But then I can create a filter that takes everything that's sent to that research email and it'll drop it into that folder and I'll never see it until I want to go in there and brainstorm. So highly recommend this. You'll get inspired by what other awesome creators are doing. All right. See, I'm just don't make me keep going. All right. All right. If you don't have any other questions, have a lovely day. Look forward to tomorrow. Get rest up, hydrate, and then get that. You know what? Tomorrow, I would love it. Your gift to me on one of the very few May seconds that I'm ever going to have in my entire lifetime is to bring me the news that you launched your Quick Start Guide tomorrow. Okay? Would you do that for me as my gift, your gift from you to me? It's all about me, all right? Forget about mothers and Mother's Day. Forget about birthdays. Forget about Cinco de Mayo. It's email newsletter launch day, okay? So, all right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks.